Welcome to the Women's Soccer Show. My name is Allie and I am joined forever by my co-host Sarah. How we doing?
Doing fantastic. I just had a cookie and a coffee and I learned some new British words, British idioms, British slang. What was it that I just learned? I already forgot it.
So you learned a little bit of Cockney rhyming slang. So that was a monkey, which is 500 quid.
Were we talking about something else before that, though?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we can say what you learned beforehand.
Well, let's say it. Let's say it anyways.
Okay.
Maybe Mike will bleep it out.
Okay, so we were talking about something and my partner said it was easy, but she didn't say easy. She said it was a piece of piss, which is a lovely British slang word for super easy.
The main reason I do this podcast is so I can learn British idioms, and then I'm going to eventually just live in Manchester with you and Helen with a fake British accent and using all of my English idioms.
I can't wait. You make it sound like we're going to live in a commune, but okay.
Don't put it past us. I think that could be some really great social media content.
Shall we move on swiftly?
We've got a great weekend of games to talk about. Huge WSL weekend. Oh my goodness. I mean, mind-blowing. Asia Cup results, everything really. And lots of red cards to discuss when we love a healthy debate.
Let's do it. So we're going to start off by talking about the games that we previewed last week because they turned out to be as explosive and as exciting as we thought they were going to be. First one we have to talk about is Arsenal versus Man United. Ended up being a 1-1 draw. However, the game was intense. Now, I know you watched it live on a train, I believe.
Yeah, I was streaming it on my phone. when Arsenal scored, I was like cheering on the train and nobody was around, and I was just like, wow, this is this is good.
So, obviously, Man United started off really strong. They got a goal within 10 minutes.
What a goal, though, by Alessia Russo. An absolute stunner of a goal. And it was a little defeating, I think, for Arsenal to concede a goal so early into the match.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That wouldn't have been the start they wanted. They were just settling in and United came to play. You know, they were like, no, we're going to get you on the back foot. And a beautiful set piece started off by Zellum, Russo with a looping header that went over the Arsenal keeper and put Man United on such a front foot that it was basically, it felt like it was Man United's to lose. Like they was just so together and there were so many great plays. I mean, Galton was on her absolute top form. It was the best I think we've seen Man United play this season because they knew what it meant.
Absolutely. There were moments in this game, specifically I would say between the minutes after United and Russo put that goal away, all the way until, I'm going to say, the start of the second half, or maybe even a bit into the second half, where it truly did look like United has control of this game. They are playing like a true, Champions League, top of the table type team. And you just had to think, this team has a lot of forward momentum going for them. And unlike Arsenal, this team has been in an upward trajectory the entire season. They started well, and they've just gotten better and better and better. Arsenal, on the other hand, I'm watching this game, and I'm thinking to myself, a team that is this unpredictably consistent, cannot be a title team. This kind of team that is this inconsistent how can they be a great team to win the title, to win Champions League, if they are this inconsistent? And that's not saying that they didn't play well, but they certainly didn't play at the caliber that we know they can play at. Did you have that same feeling?
Yeah, definitely. I know the goal would have offset them a little bit because obviously they had just lost to Man United in the Conti Cup. So of course that's going to be playing on their mind, the fact that they couldn't get, and wasn't it Russo scored that goal as well?
Yeah, I think it was.
But you look at the players that Arsenal had not only on the pitch but also on the bench, and it was just so sludge-like. It was just, you didn't feel like you were watching two title contenders. You felt like it was one title contender, which was Man United, and one team that maybe mid-table.
That being said, it was still a great game. It was still an intense game. And oh my God, did we have some incredible just like moments, saves, assists, etc. United's goal versus Arsenal came early on, 10th minute. Alessia Russo, we were just talking about what a beauty that was, and also, frankly, mismarking by Arsenal in the back post.
Yeah, that felt like a bit like a schoolboy error in the fact that I'm like, come on. I've only been playing for like 4 months, but even I know, like, you always have someone at your back post, you always have someone goal side. And
I think not to take away from United, beautiful ball in, beautiful finish. And I was just like, I'm waiting for Tobes to score against her old team and kiss that crest against her old team whose crest she kissed before. And that was really all I wanted. And you started to get the feeling as the second half wore on of like, this is starting to come for Arsenal. Viv was getting more into it. Tobin was doing her work on the outside. Beth Mead was doing great work on the outside. Kim Little was being Kim Little, as she always is. And the defense was really starting to hold it down. And then, I mean, I don't know. What do you want to talk about first?
well, I want to give England's number one huge credit because Mary Earps, oh my goodness, what a keeper she has been this season. That save when you were like, that Viv rocket, you're like, that's going in, that's going in, it's going in. Nope.
I mean, not even that save. There was a cross to Caitlin Ford on the back post who volleyed it one touch, and Mary Earps is coming across the goal and somehow gets a hand on it. I know that Mary Earps became the number one because Ellie Roebuck got hurt. However, she has earned it now, and now it is hers to lose. And I am not a big proponent of keepers losing their spot, not just keepers, of any players losing their spot due to injury. But now it should be a 50-50 battle of, we don't have a keeper, let's see who wins out from between these two.
So you think it's coming, Arsenal are knocking on the door, it's going to come. And then McCabe does something stupid.
Katie McCabe does Katie McCabe things. It's just going to happen, okay? We love her for it. She is, I equate her to like Georgia Stanway in the way that you're just like, you know what? You just have to accept the positive things that you get and know that this tiny little negative thing comes with it, but it's because they play with their full heart. There's 0 and then there's 100 and there is nothing in between.
Can I just say, you sound like my other half because she is very much in love with Kate Longhurst at West Ham, and we gave away a penalty at the game, just a quick side note, and I was like, that was never a penalty. Then I rewatched the replay and Kate Longhurst literally pushed one of the players over, and I was like, all right, so maybe that was a penalty. And my other half was like, but we love her.
Okay,
though.
but I don't actually think that this Katie McCabe, her second yellow card, should have been a card. I think it was way too soft. I do not believe that should have been a yellow card. And end of story for me. That was disappointing to see. I thought it was just far too liberal of the referees.
I'm going to say the same thing that I said about Howard when she got sent off at Tottenham. It doesn't matter whether it's soft. You are already on the yellow. You need to be on your best behaviour. And I don't think Katie McCabe was.
I think that was Katie McCabe on her best behaviour.
So that's it. You think it's over for Arsenal. You think maybe Man United are going to like lower the pressure a little bit. But no, Tooney comes out with a spectacular attempt, which Zinsberg saved. But you thought that, you know, it rattled the crossbar. It was going to be 2-0 Man United.
My heart sunk into my butt when that happened. I thought it was over. Great save by Zinsberger.
Yeah, great save by Zinsberger. You still think it's Man United's game. They've done it. And then Viv appears.
I just want to say, a couple episodes ago, we were talking about Arsenal, and you and Helen were saying, put Viv on the bench.
I did.
And I was saying, you need to leave Viv on the field for, if anything, the threat of attack that she brings. And then here we go. Tobin Heath gets subbed off. I'm very upset when Tobin Heath gets subbed off because if I'm the manager and I'm picking my top players that I want in a critical game at the critical time, Tobin Heath is number 1 on that list. So I'm thinking, what a dumb move. What a terrible move, taking Tobin Heath off. Caitlin Ford, great player, but, you know, maybe not as impactful in the later minutes. And then Vivian Miedema gets the ball before midfield, plays one of the most beautiful assists we have maybe ever seen in the WSL. That might be dramatic, but come on.
No, Leah Williamson literally just said it was the best assist she has ever seen in her entire career. It is the most beautifully weighted, long pass straight into, and I'm going to let you say the player's name because I have...
Straight into the new signing, Blackstenius, who, by the way, I also said should get more playing time.
Yeah.
I don't, not here to say I'm right or I told you so.
But, and then
beautiful
offset.
run by Blackstenius as well.
And then offset
and for the
Mary
two
Burks.
of them to be connecting like that when they've barely played together before, that bodes very well for the future.
So, of course, the match ends 1-1. I think it was a fair result based on how Arsenal performed in the second half. I know there was a lot of Man United fans feel a bit hard done by.
Cry me a river. Cry me a river, Man U fans. Absolutely not. This was a very fair result, okay? Arsenal never let up. They held a good amount of the possession. You're looking at the stats. Arsenal actually held more of the possession. They hold 60%. Equal shots on goal. In no way was this Manchester United's game that they then lost. Yes, Manchester United was up, but it, in my opinion, with how this game was played out between the two teams and how well each team played, fair result.
Absolutely. So we're now going to another London team and another Manchester team in the fact that we go to the Sunday and we go to Chelsea versus Manchester City. Now...
Fun one. This is a fun one.
This is a fun one because this is a derby, basically. They have played each other so many times.
And despite City being down in the table, it still did feel like this is a big game that truly anybody could take.
To be fair, Chelsea, I think, had the advantage because it was home. There was over 3,000 people there, and this is what they've been wanting for a while. They took the reverse fixture, so they were going to go into this feeling confident. And they had every right to. Within 14 minutes, they've taken the lead with, again, another gorgeous header.
Gorgeous.
Please forgive my pronunciation, but it was Wrighton. A lovely ball pinged by Jess Carter, who hasn't been seen much, but really come into her own this season.
I'm a big fan of Jess Carter and how she's just been growing throughout the years. She is consistent, whether she's used as a starter for somebody who's injured, whether she's used as a sub. Jess Carter is consistency, absolutely, and has really come into her own.
So that assist, again, was a beautiful assist straight to Wrighton. Wrighton managed to be honest, Roebuck couldn't really do much, and to be fair, didn't do much.
What a first game back for Ellie Roebuck as well.
Yeah.
Huge first game back for against Chelsea, so... look, that goal is not on Ellie Roebuck whatsoever. No. But what is on Manchester City is how they hung their heads immediately afterwards. Yes. Manchester City had no energy, had no fight, looked completely just defeated and deflated for the majority of the game, I would say, until maybe the 75th or 80th minute. Yeah. And then they really started to pick it up, with the exception of Lauren Hemp, who is always just like a workhorse. But other than Lauren Hemp, I would say every single person on that Manchester City field looked really defeated. I'm
going to disagree with you in the fact that I think Jess Park played a stunning game, that game. So I'll give you Hempo and Park, I think, were trying to G up their team, but it just wasn't happening. I think
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just an energy thing, but Jess Park was absolutely, as she always does, working hard on the outside.
Exactly. I think, once again, Taylor got his subs wrong. I mean, why have you brought on Ellen White on the 75th minute?
Yeah.
When you could have brought her on earlier and she might have had a chance to make an impact. I'm not saying she would have done, but she likes to score against Chelsea and has done multiple times. So, you would have thought she would have brought it on. I will give him credit in the fact he's finally playing players in the right position. We finally saw Mace out there. We saw Greenwood. We finally saw players in the right thing. But again, because he hasn't been doing that, is that why City was so disjointed? Because they haven't been playing together for...
There's so many things to talk about as to why City is... the City that we're seeing right now. And it's everything that we've talked about. Like, yes, the injuries were a part of it, but also Gareth Taylor mismanaged everything to do with those injuries and didn't use the right formations and played players out of position when he didn't really have to. And now everybody's come back. So the excuse really can't be that they haven't played together in a while, because yes, while there are injuries, then they haven't really played together that much as a crew. This team hasn't really changed much since last year. They know how to connect with each other. And so it can't just flip from, one excuse to the other. Manchester City, in my opinion, has some serious energy disjointed issues. They do not look like a cohesive unit that has a fire lit under them that wants to make a run for the title. They really don't, and I can only speculate as to why, and I think that it's Gareth Taylor, and that was really it for me. It was nice to see them start to get some possession at the end of this game and see a battle for at least 10 minutes, because until then, it just was Chelsea controlling the game and having their way.
To be honest, that's all you can really say. It was Chelsea's game to lose, and tactically they got it right. They took their opportunity. I'm surprised it was only 1-0. I thought they could have got far more, but a goal is a goal, and 3 points is 3 points, and it's now brought them 2 points closer to Arsenal, and they've got a game in hand.
Absolutely. It was huge. And the tie between Arsenal and United, frankly, just made the top of the table tighter, because they both only got 1 point. So with that, you've got Tottenham sitting just below United, Tottenham sitting only 1 point below United. So Tottenham in fourth and United in third. And then you've got the top of the table really not far ahead. And, 1, 2, 3, 4, pretty close together because of all of these results just now. We cannot move on from the WSL without talking about the bottom of the table clash, which
absolutely
I was maybe the most excited for. We had Birmingham City versus Leicester City. This was a pivotal game. Would you agree that this might have been the game that decides who ultimately gets relegated?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, because looking at the teams that Birmingham have got left to play, I can't see wins coming out of them, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Birmingham City was coming off a loss to Reading. They dropped quite a few in a row. They beat Arsenal, but then dropped a couple pretty big time games. Leicester City, on the contrary, actually was coming off of a massive win in the FA Cup against Tottenham, had momentum. You picked Leicester City to win this game because of that momentum, and it turns out you were very correct about that. I thought, despite having skidded, Birmingham City was a better side. So, first and foremost, we have to talk about the other red card that happened in the WSL. Ramsey, Birmingham City's goalkeeper, gets sent off on a straight red card in the 26th minute. What a huge, this will change the game. Whether or not Leicester City put that penalty kick away, that changes the game. To lose your goalkeeper, that is somebody so intrinsic to the team. How do you think that affected Birmingham City?
I mean, it affected them massively, because unfortunately Birmingham's experienced keeper is injured at the moment. So you've already got a youngster in Ramsey being your number one pick at the moment. So who have you got as backup to Ramsey? A 16-year-old that you've had to bring up from your youth system to play in a game that's going to determine whether you stay in the WSL or not, essentially. My goodness. So that decision, whether you think it was a red or not, changed everything. Now, I personally think the red was a little harsh. I think it should have been a yellow and a pen. They definitely deserved a pen.
Fully agreed. They deserved a penalty, but the red was harsh.
Yeah, I thought the red was harsh. I genuinely don't know what the ref was thinking. I would have definitely booked her. Yellow. Behave yourself, Rambo.
Shocking, too, because usually in refereeing, we do see them give the benefit of the doubt to the goalkeeper, and this was totally flipped on its head in a very weird situation where the goalkeeper actually wasn't the last defender at that moment, because there was a defender backtracking to get behind the Ramsey as well. So in no way did it really make sense to me. And like you said, that is a huge moment. It affects the mentality of all of Birmingham City. And that is no excuse. They are professional athletes. They're a professional team that should be able to overcome that mentally. However, that is a hard one. That is a hard one to go down 1-0 on a penalty and have an inexperienced keeper behind your back line in a game that means everything for your season.
It's condemned Birmingham. I'm going to say it now. It is condemned Birmingham to be relegated next season. And if they keep going the way they're going, I can't see them coming back up either.
We have to talk about Leicester City for many, many reasons. First of all, I just need to call out specifically Jess Sigsworth. She came from Manchester United over to Leicester City, and I thought she was a shining star on Manchester United's roster last year under Casey Stoney. She was definitely like a puzzle piece, but she was a big part of it. And she is shining so, so bright here at Leicester City. Dare I say she deserves a senior team call-up, because she is truly a standout player in this league right now for the past, I'm going to say 6 weeks. I also need to say about Leicester City, we were talking at the beginning of this season when Leicester City was dropping game after game after game after game about how they may have messed up in what they did in the offseason. They may have messed up in that instead of taking the team that won the championship and just moving them into the WSL, what they did was clean house and bring in players who had already really played in the WSL. And there was no cohesion then amongst the team. Well, guess what? It's mid-season and they're starting to gel. Like, I'm not saying that they're about to be a middle-of-the-table team, but we're seeing an upward swing in Leicester City, and they've got momentum behind them too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like little things that you're seeing coming together. So like the play between Esme de Graaf and Sigsworth is coming together and they're linking up nicely. The defenders for Leicester are starting to really come together, and, you know, it's just a beautiful, beautiful... Lavelle, the goalie, my goodness, has like started to control her defenders, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see.
Yep. So after this game, Leicester City wins 2-1, and after this game, Birmingham City sits at the bottom with only 4 points. Leicester City sits 5 points above them. That's a big margin, 5 points. You look at the games Birmingham City has left to play, and they've got big matches against top-of-the-table teams. They've got Tottenham and Arsenal. They've got middle-of-the-table West Ham. They've got City. They've got Everton. And you're kind of looking and thinking, I don't know where they're going to get these points from, because they need 2 wins. And I could pick out maybe one, maybe end of the season against Aston Villa, maybe one against Brighton.
Maybe Everton, the way Everton's going.
Maybe Everton, but this is going to be a true battle. They dug themselves out of a relegation hole last year. It's possible they can do the same, but this is now a very upward climb for Birmingham City. Let's go around the world, to the Asia Cup. I took this because I'm really hyped on the Asia Cup right now. China took home the Asia Cup as we predicted, but they did it in the hard way, going down 2-0 to South Korea at halftime. They brought it level with 15 minutes to go. Then with one of the last kicks of the game, they scored the winner. Worthy winners indeed, and we look forward to seeing what both teams will bring going forward.
Absolutely. Staying down under with Australia, A-League continues to be one of the most exciting leagues to follow at the moment. Sydney continued their unbeaten run with a 2-0 victory over Brisbane Roar. Melbourne City are still hot on their heels after beating Wellington with the same scoreline of 2-0. You get a feeling that this league is going to go down to the wire.
Over to España, Barcelona continue their domination of La Liga with a 7-0 win over Eibar. They are currently 16 points clear of their nearest competitor with a 108-goal difference. Oh my goodness. A draw between Sociedad and Atletico allowed for Tenerife to progress into third. It is the rest of the table which is providing the best entertainment in this league.
And finally, we're going to go up north to Scotland. Rangers beat their closest rivals, Glasgow City, 3-1 this weekend to extend their lead by 2 points, and they have a game in hand. Celtic keep their title hopes alive with a win against Spartans. All 3 Glasgow teams are on fire at the moment, and we cannot wait to see who takes the title.
Have you checked out Total Football Analysis yet? TotalFootballAnalysis.com provides researched analysis on loads of football games, including women's football. Want to know why Miedemar scores so many goals? Do you want to explore how City have turned it around this season? Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and sign up to learn more about the beautiful game. We have a special discount for listeners of the Women's Soccer Show. At checkout, type WOSO10 to get a full year for €10. That's €40 off the yearly subscription. Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and type WOSO10 at checkout.
So before we move on from this weekend, we have to talk about the multitude of cards that were given this weekend and wonder if the refereeing in this league is something that needs to be spoken about and reconsidered. You know, we've talked about it in multiple other episodes about how sometimes it's frankly just not up to snuff. How do you feel, Allie? Do you think that it's something that's worthy of a discussion, or are you kind of like, no, it's been fine, people are overreacting, red cards are red cards, yellow cards are, they're all deserved or they're not, or frankly, just sometimes referees get it wrong and move on?
I mean, refs sometimes get it wrong. That's the thing. Like, we're all human, everybody's fallible, fair enough. The standard of refereeing in the women's game is terrible. It is terrible. And they keep saying they want to grow women's football, they want to grow attendance, they want to do that. But the standard of refereeing needs to go up with it. We've seen it this week. Players have spoken out and will no doubt get fined for speaking out. But Louise Quinn said that it was the ref that cost them the game against Leicester and maybe their season. We saw it with McCabe with possibly having a soft... and we can make a very good comparison between two games. Again, I'm going to bring it back to the game I avidly watched, which was West Ham Aston Villa. But Abby Lee Stringer got a yellow, to be fair, for a dodgy tackle, and she deserved a yellow. She then clipped the back heels of another player, and the ref just gave her a talking to. Now, you look at the Arsenal game, and McCabe... second offence, shall we say, got her a straight yellow, red and off to the change rooms. Where's the consistency? I'm not saying I wanted my player sent off, but if we're looking at the two, then it should have been consistency. And if one's a second yellow and a red, then so was the other one. There's just no consistency across the board.
So as somebody who doesn't know a lot about the system of refereeing in the WSL, why is this a problem? Why is the standard so low? Why is there inconsistency? And how does that get fixed? Is this just the referees aren't being paid a lot and this is a part-time job, so they just simply can't put the time in? Pretty
much. So I've got a lot of friends who follow low league men's football, and the amount of time they've said, oh, I saw that ref. He refed Billericay Town versus... So we're not even getting Championship League One.
These aren't even professional refs.
No, for the most part, unless it's a massive game. No, we are literally looking at people that this is their part-time gig. It's something they do on the weekend for about 30 quid and your expenses. And we're talking, this is for top tier women's
That's
football.
Frankly disappointing, because if you want the game to grow, if you want the game to improve, the refereeing needs to improve as well. You need to invest in all facets of the game, and that includes the refs. And I know none of us really think about the refs until something like this happens. But it can't be like this. If the level continues to grow, everything needs to grow with it. The amount of investment in marketing and the amount of investment in refs, the amount of investment in facilities, so on and so forth. It needs to all grow together.
Exactly. You can't have someone that you've just gone to and went, here, do you want an extra 30 quid this week? Come do this game. Because it can change livelihoods, because we already know how little the women's players get paid compared to the men's players. So for a team to suddenly drop down because of a bad reffing decision, it can change livelihoods. And so we do need professional referees, and they do exist because they're in the men's game. So it wouldn't hurt to have some of those come across. And I'm not saying bring Premier League refs, because they probably would earn more than our players do. But they are referees in League One, League Two men's football that are professional, that are full-time, that do know what they're doing. And we could have that consistency. The problem I think we're seeing most is the consistency, because you get some refs that are card happy. And I will always remember this saying was from, I think it was West Ham Reading, and somebody said, this ref, you might as well call her Clinton's because she's giving out so many cards, which if you're British, that makes sense because it's a birthday card shop. But it was that sort of thing in the fact that every little offence got a yellow. And then there are some refs, like, for example, the referee we had against Everton West Ham, who was very much about playing advantage, giving players talking tos and warnings, and it was only after like their 4th, 5th warning she gave them yellows.
Yeah. Well, what I like about your point is that you're saying you're just looking for consistency.
Exactly.
You're not saying I want it to be ref one way or another. You're just saying it needs to be consistent. Consistency is professionalism.
Exactly.
Period. That's what we're looking for.
100%. And that's where we've got our problem, is because you literally will look at the sheet and you go, all right, we're going to have a couple of yellows here because this ref likes to get her book out. Or you'll be like, actually, I don't think we're going to see, you know. And then, like, talk about consistency, like, you look at certain things for fouls. We've had players break other players' legs and they've got yellows. Yeah. And then we've got, you know, Rambo, who came out a little bit early and went in for a bit of a dodgy tackle, which would have been a yellow normally, a straight red. There's just nothing.
I mean, hey, if they're not hiring necessarily like professional refs, I'll come make $30 and meet a bunch of players that I've always wanted to meet. I'll do that. Sign me up. All right, moving from this past weekend of the WSL to next weekend, because we have to look ahead. Last games to watch before international break. What are you most excited for?
Well, that's the big two. It is the Manchester derby and it's Chelsea versus Arsenal.
Yes. Are you really most excited for the Manchester derby, or are you just, I mean, come on. I get it. United fans, City fans, you're most excited for the derby. But, I mean, this is a number 1 versus number 2 clash. We're talking about Leicester City, Birmingham City, that just decided the relegation. This could potentially decide who wins the title. So let's go. I'm so pumped. We didn't have the Allie's laughing because I'm getting so excited right now. We weren't going to do this, but now I have to because it was so much fun last week. Picks. United versus City. I think we're both going to pick United.
Yeah, to be honest, with the form that both of them are in, I would say that it's going to be a Manchester United.
I agree. Chelsea, Arsenal.
Chelsea.
To bet with my head or my heart? This is the question. My heart says Arsenal. My head says Chelsea. I'm going to go with my heart. Who would I be if I didn't just follow my heart?
Like, I can't, like, you know, it pains me to say Chelsea, but it's just the way how organised they are and the slipping that Arsenal
and
have
your
had
slight
recently.
love affair with Emma Hayes.
And my slight love affair for Emma Hayes.
Allie's been going to a lot of Emma Hayes pressers, which everybody should check our Patreon because we cut the best bits of them and you just get to listen to the brilliant football mind and her answers to these wonderful questions. So go check out our Patreon. What a wonderful moment for me to plug the Patreon. But because Allie's been at so many pressers, she is slowly but surely falling in love with Emma Hayes. And you can sometimes hear it in her voice when she asks questions of Emma Hayes, because she kind of tries to make Emma Hayes chuckle a little bit, like here and there in between the questions at the end. And you're just like, I see you throwing on the charm. I see you kind of turn it on right there.
Though, to be fair, I did cheat on Emma this week because I got to go to the Kelly Chambers presser, who is equally lovely, equally eloquent, and is just an all right, lovely person.
I'm sure Emma missed you. I'm sure she missed you a lot. Let's go a little deeper into Chelsea Arsenal really quickly because I love doing this. You do the key for Chelsea to win this game, and I'll do the key for Arsenal. What is the key for Chelsea here in this matchup? How are they going to win this game?
If Chelsea are going to beat Arsenal, they are going to have to be very reliant on their forwards. I think Arsenal's biggest weakness is their defence again. And they've got Sam Kerr back. They've got Kirby. They've got Harder. They've got all these players that can break through, I would say, quite easily the Arsenal defence. So I think the way to crack Arsenal is to go direct. I'm talking about have your wingers and you're pinging those balls into the box for Kirby to get on the end of, to get Kerr on the end of.
Okay, so for Arsenal, obviously to your point, the obvious is the back line, but I'm not going to say that actually. It's the forwards that we just talked about. Viv needs to be on it. Tobin needs to be on it. Beth Mead needs to be on it. And then Blackstenius needs to be a super sub. And if they can match Chelsea's goal scoring, it's okay that they let in one or two. Chelsea's forward line is one of the best in the world, if not arguably the best. To say that you're going to completely shut them down is kind of impossible. So what Arsenal needs to do is say we're going to control them and we're going to limit what they can do. And that might be 1-2 goals. So what Arsenal needs to do is have their forwards firing on all cylinders and just be able to match Chelsea and meet them at their level and put them on their heels in certain moments in the game with their attack.
Yeah, so we do need to talk about the derby. Current tally is 2 wins for Manchester City, 2 draws and 1 win for Man United. I do think it's going to be levelled up, and I do think Man United are going to take it. However, the power of the derby, anything can happen, you know, so it's a big one. You know, there's no love lost between the teams. We've got players that played for both sides. You know, be interesting seeing the reception that Greenwood gets, because we know still not a fan.
No, they definitely are not.
So that'll be quite interesting. It'll be interesting to see if City return the favour with Mannion, to see if, you know, because we think she's being groomed to become Man United's next captain.
So keys for City to be able to get this upset.
Get a goal and get a goal quickly, because I think that will offset Manchester United to concede quickly. I think Taylor, stop playing your one striker up front, which is clearly not working. I would have both Bunny and Ellen on the pitch at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And just get Ellen White on the field. Why she's not getting minutes in key games when she's literally known, like, the number one thing Ellen White is known for is scoring clutch goals in clutch games, and she's not on the field, should be a red flag. Key for United, I mean, I'm just going to say that if they can play a complete game, like a very complete, consistent game, they will win. If they have moments of lulls and let City start to take control and possession, it's going to be harder. But just to play the complete game, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again, Hayley Ladd, I think, is the heart and soul and the key to when this team plays well. When she plays well, this team plays well. Period. The end.
I think it's going to be poetic justice, and Ella Toon's going to score against her old team.
All right, that is next weekend's matchups. This has been a very WSL heavy episode, but that's okay.
So if you want a different flavour of football, head over to our Patreon, because we are going to be doing our news at 10, and it's going to be all about the Challenge Cup.
Ooh, schedule was dropped today, so we will be going over all of that. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Head over to our Patreon, like Allie just said. You want to tell them where to go, Allie?
No, because I don't know.
Oh, my God. Mike, you got to keep that in.
No.
Go.
Mike,
yes,
don't you dare.
Mike, you have to keep that in.
Remember,
please.
Mike, who pays you now?
No, Mike, you gotta keep it in. Otherwise, it's not gonna make sense, because I'm gonna say this while I'm laughing, and otherwise, it's just gonna sound weird. Go to patreon.com/The Woso Show, the name of our show. That easy. It's that simple.
But I can remember, because we have half of our things as the Women's Soccer Show, and then we have half our things as the Woso Show.
Okay, don't confuse our listeners, okay?
Exactly.
Socials are The Woso Show, patreon.com/The Woso Show, Linktree/The Woso Show. If it involves any URLs or social media, it is the abbreviated version, okay? I can't believe you just made me say that. People are like falling asleep from that information.
Right, we're going to leave now. We're going to leave you guys be, but thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week with a brand new episode. And as always, I've been Allie.
I've been Sarah, and this is the Women's Soccer Show. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.